Welcome to the Digital Manufacturer Podcast, your frontline source for all things digital transformation in manufacturing. I'm your host, Mark Flynn, and I'm here to guide you through the evolving landscape of manufacturing. In each episode, we'll uncover the stories of innovation that are defining the industry, offering insights and strategies that help to drive growth and efficiency. Join us as we speak to thought leaders and visionaries who share their journeys and the lessons they've learned along the way. So let's dive into today's episode and discover what the future holds for the digital manufacturer. Therese, welcome to the Digital Manufacturer. Thank you for making the time for joining us.
Thanks very much for having me, Mark.
Absolutely. Look, I'm looking forward to the conversation today, especially learning how you as finance director are running quite a successful business based here in County Cavan from millions of miles away. So look, what would be great to kick off with is just if you could give a bit of background about yourself, M-TEC Engineering. Now, I have it here in my notes that M-TEC Engineering produces the Rolls-Royce of livestock trailer. I'm really interested to hear more on that.
Hi, so yes, I am Therese. I'm from County Fermanagh/Cavan, and I work for M-TEC Engineering, and I'm the finance director. I guess a little bit about me. I studied not too far from you, Mark, in Ulster University. I studied finance and investment management. I spent my placement year over in Australia. I was in a HR company, and I then came back after my placement year. I finished my university and then I started into M-TEC Engineering. And I guess that's what kind of leads the start of M-TEC Engineering, because it was after that I graduated, which M-TEC Engineering was born. So a bit of background about M-TEC Engineering. What we do now is we design, engineer and manufacture a wide range of trailers, going from the agriculture, construction, landscaping and domestic industries. So before 2020, my father and my brother, Adrian and Danny, were buying and selling new and used machinery, like agricultural machinery mainly. So they were doing that probably for about 4 years, and they had a yard and the premises that they were selling from. And they really wanted to get a trailer manufacturer, like a dealership in to sell the trailers. And they found that it was just so hard, that there was so much demand for trailers, but there was no supply. So they tried and couldn't get it. So they kind of thought, okay, with Adrian's background in engineering, Dad obviously has had a business before as well. They said we could make something good here. So I guess I had just finished university and we said, look, will the three of us have a crack at this, see what we can do? It was starting into COVID. Everybody was spending loads of money. We built a pretty good product to start off with, and growth happened very, very fast. So we started probably at the start of 2020. I know people love figures, but to give you an idea, like we went from maybe having 200,000 turnover up to like 1.2 million within like the space of 6 months. So as you can imagine, coming in from the finance background, it was like, wow. And I know a lot of people presume when you speak family business that you're coming in with like a big cushion of money. We literally went in with zero, and we went to the bank. We got a small bit of money to help us get going. And we've just grew this, what I call now is almost like a beast of a business at this stage.
Wow, that is an incredible story. And you export worldwide, don't you?
Yes, so we're exporting to Australia, and we're exporting probably around 60% of our products to the UK. And then we've just got some early contracts with Europe as well. So we're hoping by the end of the year that we'll be exporting to at least 3 countries in Europe.
So that's incredible growth. I'm sure that growth comes with some significant challenges and pressures within the business. Would you mind sharing a couple of challenges that you and the business have come through over the past number of years?
Absolutely. I guess every business, we're split into different. So first of all, you've got your operation side of things where you're going to have strain your financials. You have as well your marketing side. So I guess the main pain point was obviously at that point with COVID, and then obviously the war in Ukraine as well, it had a huge impact on getting material. So probably the biggest issue of the growth was just getting the material. So what we found, because we had started off thinking, okay, to give an example, we started off that we thought we were going to do 4 trailers per week. All our suppliers laugh at that now, because they remember you had this idea in your head that it was only 4 trailers. And now sometimes it can be 40 trailers a week. So it goes to show you the extent of the growth. But initially, we needed to get as much product in as possible, and we really struggled to get products. What we found that we were having to do is we were going to different suppliers and we were buying them at a higher cost, which obviously wasn't ideal for a business that was growing. It was affecting our margins. I guess the other part of that, I started with Sage. I'm not going to diss anything, but I struggled with Sage. And I guess I was coming in with, after coming out of university and I seen that, okay, we could automate. I need to see reports. I want to see everything more user friendly. So I guess it was really hard on the likes of our systems as well. It was very much Excel driven, but Excel wasn't enough to kind of get me to the next step to be like, okay, we've added on 4 new employees this week. I need to see to make sure our turnover, our margins are increasing the next few months with the added in staff to make sure we're growing, but also becoming more productive, because that can be a big issue as well. You can grow, add more employees, but not really see your output increasing at the same time. So I guess that was a few very minor glitches. There was a lot more that happened in the background as well.
That's really interesting. So I'm just going to unpack that. So the first challenge that you had that I heard was sourcing material at a reasonable price, or even understanding the impact on margin, your gross margin of the material increases. And Sage wasn't giving you the information you needed, so you pivoted to another platform. What platform are you using now for finance?
So we moved to QuickBooks Online. And what I liked about QuickBooks is that it was on the cloud. You probably have the right terminology for that. You know that it's like online. It's not like an app. You know the way Sage would be that you have to use it from.
Your desktop?
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's a cloud-based software as a subscription platform, which means you can access it anywhere, I guess, which is important whenever you're in Dubai.
exactly. And at that early point as well, even though you'd imagine that my dad and Adrian, my brother, you'd imagine that our communication, but when you are growing at that fast rate, Adrian's so busy doing his own thing, Dad's so busy doing his own thing, and I'm so busy doing my own thing. What I loved about QuickBooks is that it could actually download it on an app. So I downloaded QuickBooks into my dad and Adrian's phone, and they could then see what our weekly turnover was. They were getting reports with our dashboard, what's our bank accounts looking at. If they see me come in stressed today, we could just look up QuickBooks and be like, oh, the bank's not where it wanted to be. That's why she's not happy today. So yeah, it was good in a lot of ways that it was full transparency between management to see what was actually going on in the business.
I love that expression, full transparency. So you have your turnover in there, but you can also see your cash flow, which I imagine is hugely important for a business of your size, scaling at the rate you're scaling at.
Yeah.
And what sort of level of reporting do you get out of in addition? Do you drive your P&L out of QuickBooks? Do you do management accounts for the team out of QuickBooks, or what way have you got that set up?
Yes, so that's one of the great. Yeah, I do most of my reporting. Actually, all my reporting really comes from QuickBooks. The main one being obviously your P&L, and then obviously as a company we work a lot with Enterprise Ireland, and they like to see management accounts. And QuickBooks is brilliant because at any point in time you can just click your finger and it brings up all your information. Obviously, I'm keeping on looking at it on a daily basis, and making sure that I'm approving the banking and everything. It has to be up to date, but because QuickBooks is so easy to use and it's very easy. It's not like, oh, I have to look through all these invoices or the banking now. It's when you create a rule, which it's so smart, QuickBooks is so smart. It's just click, click, click. It's like you just have 5 minutes in the morning. You get your banking out of the way, you get your invoicing out of the way, and that's it up to date. So that definitely would be the key thing. Another key thing, and I know it sounds really, really simple, but one of the start to see the financials coming out now. We're just talking about reports and all that. But what I loved about QuickBooks, obviously you have to have every year you're gaining more data from your business, and that's obviously fantastic. But what I loved about QuickBooks is you can actually customize your reports so that you can have, what your turnover was every month. So January, February, March, April in 2021. You can then compare it, have your comparison beside it in 2022, and you can have 2023. So you can get exactly your growth year on year per report, or profit and loss, or turnover. And then another key feature I love is that obviously we're growing now. We're exporting to so many countries. I actually can create custom reports to show what we've exported to Australia so far to date, what we've exported to Northern Ireland. Nearly, you can actually break it up per county to break it down to what you're exporting to each. It's a really good way of feeding back then to your marketing as well, to see where they need to maybe market products more, market products less. So you can do so much with the reports. It really can drive a business.
I love it. And not that we're sponsored by QuickBooks or anything, there are other platforms similar to QuickBooks available. But the key point to take away from that is you have chosen a modern finance package to help you drive your business. And what it's providing for you is usability. It's intuitive, it's easy to access. Your dad and brother can access it on their phone without having to talk to you or pester you for figures. You're able to put automations in there so that you can quickly get through your cash rec and your invoicing, your purchase order reconciliation in a morning, which is important for anyone who's in charge of a scaling business. And also the reporting, you're able to slice and dice through different segments of your business to really drive key decisions on what you do next, what markets you push in, what price you push in, where you invest next. So I suppose that QuickBooks is really the engine room then. Your finance platform is really the engine room of the business today.
Definitely for the reports that we want, and even to bring in new products, dictating what new products we do, have done. We started with zero. We have over 12 products in our range now. So QuickBooks has had an input into that as well, because I can break down what category that, whether it's our single axle, twin axles, tippers, where is a very high amount, how many volumes going out, and could we add in a new product that will even increase that? So it does help massive decisions in the business.
Brilliant. So you seem very happy with the foundation of your technology strategy. Where's your attention focused on now? Like what problem are you trying to solve now for the business?
So the main thing being is our stock. So we used to be able to manage our stock very easily. Probably QuickBooks gave us a very basic understanding of how to manage our stock. And then all of a sudden we went into a new product range, that being livestock trailers. The only way I could describe that, it was like creating a rocket ship to go to NASA, because there were so many components and it was really overwhelming. And all of a sudden I realized, while QuickBooks is a good standard stock control system, we had probably just surpassed what QuickBooks could offer. So I guess the QuickBooks with a little bit of Excel, we realized shortly that it wasn't able to cope with it anymore. So we really wanted to look into and understand this whole idea of the ERP world, which to me, had really no idea about. For me, I never, as a company, that's going to be at least 10 years down the line. But obviously we grew so quickly, and I was like, well, QuickBooks isn't able to go, but where is like what would be a good software that would be able to come on and take these pain points away, but as well as that, not cost an absolute fortune either for where we are in the business.
And I think that's one of the reasons Rubik got started in this market and in this industry with the cost, or say, the advent of SaaS businesses, cloud-based technologies, the cost of getting yourself a leading platform or leading technology has come down quite significantly. And you don't need to go the old route of having to go for that massive ERP. There are loads of technologies that you can integrate with your QuickBooks or your Xero or whatever finance package it may be to give you the capabilities or the functionality you need to take your business to the next level. So you've been looking at stock management. You've also been looking at production tracking, haven't you? You want to get an idea of exactly where your production's at any point in time and how much it's really costing. Like, what are your actual costs versus what you forecast your costs are for any individual item? Isn't that right?
That's exactly right. And the thing being is we have quite a lot of moving parts, which I was like, how am I ever going to get a system that's going to be able to track all these moving parts? So from a manufacturing side of it, from it going to coming in as a raw material to then, like such as steel, let's just say, to then being fabricated into something that's obviously worth money to us. It has time and stuff. And then when that is complete, that is then sent away from galvanizing and then to galvanizing, and then it comes back from galvanizing. So that part that was initially there has now changed to a new part because it's now a galvanized part. And then that's feeding into the line. There was so many different stages of production that we had to choosing the right kind of system for us was a fundamental decision for us.
Yeah. And I'm sure you're looking for the same qualities in any new system as you have in QuickBooks. You want something that's easy to use, the team can pick up quickly, that you can deploy relatively quickly, that you can get access from remotely, have all your data available, all your information available at your fingertips.
Exactly. That was a big thing. Obviously, I'm working remotely, and that's so important that I can see at any one time where everything is in production, what our stock levels are like. Has that moved from that welding bay? Has it moved to galvanizing? Has it come back yet? And this is almost like a live tracking system that you can see every stage. So it's been key.
Yeah. And I know you're in a selection process at the minute for software, but how are you going to plan to roll that out given you are remote once you've decided on the package that you're going to go with? How are you going to set up the project to get it delivered?
Yeah, so it's going to start off at management first. So we will, first of all, I'll take over the likes of the financial side. Whatever I'm going for has to integrate with QuickBooks because, as you can tell, I love QuickBooks and the report and everything's so fantastic. And then it will obviously go into more operations, then setting it up, adding all our stock numbers, our part numbers, whatever else it may be. And then we'll also get our engineers involved as well and making sure that they're happy with how the process works, getting obviously signed off by Adrian and my dad, make sure they're happy with it. And then we want to go to as far as actually rolling it out to the floor as well, because we want to have it that it's actually the information is coming directly from the floor. I don't think bringing on a system that has more work and more things for management to do, that's never a good idea. I always think bringing on a system, it has to be, okay, how is this going to, number one, make our business more transparent, as in we know what exactly everything's costing us? How is it going to make our lives easier? And sometimes passing a little bit more responsibility on to your workforce so that they know that we're keeping it accountable as well on what's being done every day. And we're obviously getting a live tracking of what's being done. So whatever is happening in the small village of Swanlinbar in County Cavan, I will be able to track it from Dubai. So like it's really a no-brainer. It's fantastic.
I love that whole concept of passing on some responsibility to the workforce because I think that's the thing that's often missed in small businesses because small business management teams, traditionally family businesses, take on the responsibility for everything. And the people that they hire, they tend to point them at specific tasks, but maybe not include them in to the overall running or function or performance of the business. And I think with modern tools now, and especially tools that allow you to connect the back office to the factory floor and connect the plan to what is actually happening and then enable you to review that with your team overall is the right attitude to have. Like it's that continuous improvement approach that many of the big companies execute really well. And it's refreshing actually to see that approach being put in place for a smaller business. And I'm sure the team want to be more involved. I'm sure the people who are fabricating the trailers want to contribute at a bigger level.
Absolutely. Like to give you an example, we obviously are in the process of going as digital as possible. I'm not going to say fully digital because that can take a while, but as digital as possible. But in the meantime, in the interim of getting to where we want to be, I have started slowly, as I call it, the soft launch now is what the young people call it. We soft launched in with the paper of targets. So it meant just having a quick meeting, putting the targets up in front of them. See by even doing that and involving the guys of, okay, what targets do the company need? The increase in productivity that we've got by even doing that has been unbelievable. So it goes to show you, although being management, you can think, I have to take on all these things by the simple task of just saying to your staff, this is the targets that we want. Let's all work together. It can make such a difference when you're not just doing it all on your own.
Absolutely. And how have you found adoption? Because one of the complaints we hear from some of our other customers is that the workforce is of a certain generation. So they're never going to use that app or they're never going to push that button, or we can't get your man to use a computer as opposed to writing in a piece of paper. How have you found adoption in the business for some of the new technologies that you're pushing through?
To be honest, we've actually had a really good uptake of it. I think a lot of employees are aware of how things are changing. And although they'll never come to the forefront and say that, I think in the back of their heads, they realize a lot of this is digitalization is coming in. If I don't go with this now, well, number one, I'm not going to be up with the times. And number two, am I going to be the most down to role that I don't want to do? Like I want to stay at this level and I'm going to have to partake in it. So we haven't found it at all too hard. Like we do have quite a young workforce. So we are lucky in that sense, as in that it's no problem to them getting the hang of it. But within the last even year, I would see a small change in the mentalities towards digitalization. I think people realize with AI, digitalization, it's coming in hard and fast. And these roles that down the line may be robotics or whatever it may be, people are definitely starting, I think anyway, to step up a little bit to be like, okay, we need to get on top of this with help the company out with digitalizing it as well.
Absolutely. And I think there is a fear when it comes to technology that technology is going to ultimately take people's jobs. I mean, you mentioned AI there. The big thing that we hear about AI is going to replace the operator or the fabricator, which in reality, I don't think that's going to happen. If anything, it's going to help make the job a little bit more effective, more efficient, or at least give the person, the operator, the machinist, whoever it might be, the information to know where they can improve. And if they have that improvement mindset and they have that professional mindset, then it will be an asset for them. But if they don't, I think the worry is going to be they'll end up possibly being replaced by someone who does have that improvement mindset. And I guess that's what any business wants. You want your employees to be focused on how they can do things better at all times whilst maintaining the level of quality that your customers expect.
Absolutely. I think, the big thing you have to be is you have to be transparent with it all. When I'm back on site, I travel back a few times a year. And when I go in on site, I'm very much so bring everybody in the meeting. If there's anything changing, I don't just pick three guys out of the team to tell them what's changing. It's a toolbox talk. We're all in this together. And I think that has a big effect as well, rather than maybe your three supervisor, the only guys that know. But your guys that are on the production line, they're as important as your supervisors in a way because they're putting on the key components onto your trailer. So it's about bringing everybody in a team and telling them why you're doing this and that most use free is this is to make your life easier, I promise. But they see all the changes and that it will in the long term improve everything for them as well. So that would be my advice.
I love it. And so your immediate focus is on your inventory management and your production control, your production tracking. Have you given any thought yet to what the future might hold? So once you've completed those initiatives, do you know what your next step is going to be?
Probably until I get that over, not just yet, to be honest. The thing is, it's hard to think ahead with digitalization because it's changing so fast at the moment. So whatever we choose for now, I'd be hoping that brings us to 2 to 3 years. But I guess in terms of what's happening, like what would another big investment be? We'd obviously love to go robotics. We just went to see robots in action last week. So I'd say before the end of the year, we will definitely have some robotic welding cells. Again, our staff will be managing them. It's not this scary thing that people think, oh my goodness, I'm going to lose my job. It's nothing like that. We will be buying these as long as employing more people. And we bring in robotics into the business just purely for the increase in the output. It can go 7 days a week. And that would probably be the next big thing we'll be going for. I would say robotics.
Yeah. And robotics need to be programmed, they need to be serviced, they need to be maintained, all those good things. And also, they can't do every task, I think is the other big point. There are intricate tasks that robots just aren't very good at that will still require a human experienced professional to complete. I think the other point that you made there that is really interesting is technology is changing all the time. Like I know you and I sat down, we put together a digital strategy for the business a couple of months ago, and that was setting a horizon for you. But the further and further you get out on that horizon, the less confident you can be about what it is that you need to do. So it is important that once you have a line in the sand in what you're doing from a digitalization perspective, that you continue to revisit that strategy and plan, given the wider context of what's going on in your business, most importantly, but also what's going on in the broader technology environment. 2 years ago, we didn't have AI, and now it's everywhere on every feed and integrated in every system. So I do want to just, for the listeners of the call that are perhaps maybe not just as technology savvy, just give them a bit of a reassurance that you don't need to be up to date all the time on every technology change that is happening because it's changing so rapidly. But do invest some time getting a broad picture of what tools, techniques, solutions are available to your business in order to solve the problem. And either do that through building out a digital strategy like you did with Enterprise Ireland, or going to different events and seeing what other people are doing. Do you do much site visits on similar businesses, Therese, or is it mostly just events that you go to?
Yeah, it would be events, but we would do site visits. Like a lot of the Irish manufacturers are so unbelievable and the support they've given us as a new company into the industry. So we would do visits, but it would be more so based on the production lines and how the production lines are moving. And there's a small bit of digitalization that we've seen them with their touch screens at the BAs putting in their figures that they had just done. But in terms of, I find businesses are very harsh about their systems that they're using. It brings back, I created a system we have type approval on our trailers. So we needed to have a full traceability from when the trailer was manufactured, so welded, to then coming back from galvanizing to be fully assembled. We needed like a full thing. And then after it was completely PDI'd, ready to go, that a COC was populated as well. So I took it upon me to create this like kind of system. And to this day, I've kind of trademarked it. So I'm not letting out all my secrets, but a lot of people after we got it, a lot of companies reached out to me, and I would always help my hand with stuff if I could. But this cost me so much time and money. I didn't have it in me just to give it away yet. But it's a very simple process. But that's what I will find. Businesses are very good at coming in, but there are systems that can be a little bit more reserved, I'm telling you, because really it is the brains of the business ultimately, isn't it? Your system.
Absolutely. No one wants to be giving away the family jewels. Where can people find out more about M-TEC Engineering? Where can people look for to see some of your products, perhaps maybe buy some of your products? Where's the best place to connect with the business?
Social media. So our Instagram, our Facebook, and as of recent, our TikTok, which is doing really well. You'll see Trees in action. There was a recent bloopers put up there as well, videos. So definitely head over to them. We have a website as well. It's www.m-tech.ie, TEC. Our Instagram and our Facebook is just M-TEC Engineering as well.
That's brilliant. TikTok, really? So you're doing lots on TikTok? That's really interesting. I've not heard of anyone in the manufacturing space doing anything on TikTok. Are you getting much traction from that?
Yeah, definitely. I put up a video and it got nearly 1 million views, which was obviously fantastic. And we find TikTok, we would find a lot, especially in the industry that we're in, agriculture, a lot of the farms, the way farms are kind of brought tethered down by father to son, the father to son. So a lot of farmers would have, the father who's not really on TikTok, but the son that's on TikTok all the time. So we would find that the son is reaching out, seeing the product, showing it to the dad, and then the two of them are coming together to see the product. So TikTok is definitely a big platform, good social media platform for businesses.
There you are, folks. You heard it here first. She said she wasn't going to give away the crown jewels, but she might have given away a crown jewel there today. Therese, thanks very much for joining me on today's call. Really, really enjoyed it. I'm really interested to see how far and how wide M-TEC Engineering grows and how the product line grows. I know firsthand that these are a great business and a great management team. So I wish you every success, and I'll see you when you get back to Ireland.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, Mark. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for tuning into The Digital Manufacturer. We hope that today's conversation has provided some food for thought or sparked new ideas that will help you on your digital journey. To learn more about any of these topics discussed in the episode, head over to our website, www.rubictech.co. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate and review us on your favourite podcast platform to help others join in the digital manufacturing movement. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a future episode. The Digital Manufacturer is brought to you by Rubik, where we're not just talking about the future, we're making it happen. On behalf of everyone at Rubik, thank you for listening.